We are back on Get Up. Bottom of the hour. We're on the, run the hurry up. Adam Schefter. Let's start with Jaden Daniels.
He was limited in practice yesterday. He said it'll be a doctor's decision whether he plays on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. He'd like to try to play, just doesn't know if he can right now. We'll see what the doctors say if he can't play. Marcus Mariota steps in, and Marcus Mariota was impressive Sunday against his former Raiders team. We'll see if Mariota can keep it up if he gets that chance again. Meanwhile, in San Francisco, the 49ers had Brock Purdy back at practice in a limited fashion. He practiced some last week, seems to be doing better this week, and is trending the right way right now. The 49ers still want to take a look at him the next couple of days to see how he fares. If he can't play, Mac Jones would step in for a third straight week. Mac Jones is 2-0 as the 49ers starting quarterback, but it sounds like Purdy's got a real chance to be able to play on Sunday. However, Mike Evans will not play on Sunday for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Suffered a hamstring injury on this play. You could see he came up hobbled. He missed 3 games with a hamstring injury last year. Similar timeline this year. The Buccaneers don't think they have to put him on injury reserve. And the good part here is that they do expect to get Chris Godwin back this week. He was a full participant in practice this week, so Godwin is tracking to be able to play Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles.
You mentioned earlier this morning, Dan, that historically Jalen Hurts has struggled against the Buccaneers. So let's dive into them a little bit. I feel ridiculous bringing up the notion that the Eagles need to change anything they're doing. They've won 19 out of their last 20 games. One of them was the Super Bowl. They've won 17 consecutive games that Jalen Hurts has finished. So clearly, they're not in any trouble. However, I think a lot of people watched the second half of that game against the Rams and said, oh, wait a minute, they can do that? You know, we've forgotten A.J. Brown might be as good as any receiver in the league. Do you believe, Drew Brees goes on First Take and says that their offense is boring to watch. Do you believe the Eagles need to open it up a little bit more than they have?
No, I mean, I thought even last week in the second half comeback, all they did was put A.J. by himself and be like, hey, go run a 12-yard stop route, and he did. So I thought they were a little bit less predictable in their pass game. That's been my issue. I don't think that they need to do more. The beauty of the Eagles' offense is, like, stop it. Go ahead and stop it and try to when it matters the most. No one's really been able to do that. I think the interesting part of it is, like, can they get Saquon going? Like, that's the quiet thing that hasn't really been said out loud this year. They're 3-0 and whatnot. Saquon hasn't gotten going. He's on, like, in comparison to last year, I mean, he's nowhere close to what he was doing last year. I mean, just look at the top numbers, 63, 58. That's carries, right? Last year to this year. Last year, he was over 5.5 per carry. This year, he's under 3.5. And so, like, that's the interesting thing, part of their offense. I've talked about there's been more out of A.J. Brown. That was better last week. But they haven't gotten Saquon Barkley going. And I think that is the key this week. Like, if they don't run the ball well in early downs against Tampa, Tampa's going to fire zone blitz your face off, and that's advantage Tampa's defense.
You said nobody's been saying it out loud. I've been screaming it every day when I'm in the shop at the bus because Saquon's on my fantasy team. I need him to get going as well. you look at it's like yeah, they got to get Saquon going. Do they need to throw the ball more? I'm curious your perspective. I'm curious your perspective on, like, how you make that happen, because when you look at Saquon last year, when he's touching the rock around 20 times a game, you're getting at least 120. Right now, he is averaging around 20 carries per game, and he's getting about 60 yards on the ground. 60,
how you make
70.
what happen?
How do you balance? Is it, hey, give us that second half offense? Like, what are you doing to mix in the pass to get Saquon going?
Well, I think last year they were a lot more explosive on early downs, and this year they're not. I think it's all situational as well. Like, they live in a world where their defense is so good, they're going to try to control the game. Philosophically, I don't think they want to get turnover, expose themselves to potential turnovers, and I think that's why they played a little bit close to the vest. I don't love it, but it wins. Like, it gets the job done.
Yeah, and it's also like no one cares how cute your offense is or how fun it is to watch if you're getting wins in the building. So do they have to change anything? No. Do they want to make the run game a little bit better? It's like, yeah, they're 29th in offense and passing last year. They're right there this year. You want to have some sort of a vertical threat down the field so you get that box to loosen up a little bit. Also, they've been doing a lot more plays through the middle between the tackles. If you look at last year and some of the perimeter, like tackle pulls in the perimeter, that's where Saquon can really get ahead of steam. And you have two very athletic tackles in Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson that can make those blocks out there. I get a little creative with that, and then allow A.J. Brown, who's probably the most talented wide receiver in the entire league, to run more than just your 3-yard.
Yeah, I think, Becton, Becton not there at right guard matters. Becton just moved people. Obviously, Lane Johnson hurt last week, so, there's a reality where the offensive line hasn't been fully healthy. I would love for them to get more creative, but at the same time, it hasn't been a necessity.
Yeah, just win, right?
Well, and just win. They've won 19 of 20 games. 19 of their last 20. So we can pick them apart all we want. The fact of the matter is all they do is keep winning, including the Super Bowl, including going to the playoffs 7 of the last 8 years, 19 of 20 games. And we're finding things wrong, and that's why now we'll say this. Tampa, that's been their house of horrors.
Yeah.
They have not played well in that building.
Jalen Hurts is 1-4 against Tampa.
Take me inside the building very quickly. I mean, you guys played, and I sit here on TV, and I'm envisioning, this is the reason I'm almost hesitant to bring this up, because I'm envisioning like all the Eagles coaches or whatever gathered around the TV and thinking, listen to these idiots.
Oh, that's
they're
exactly
talking
what
about
they're
what's
thinking.
wrong with us. We're 3-0. We're the Super Bowl champs. We've won 19 out of 20. Like, I actually feel ridiculous bringing this up. However, I do find myself thinking this is going to catch up to them. Like, you keep playing these very close. You fall way behind the Rams. You need miracles to happen. You need to block kicks at the end of the game to win that thing. I feel like this could catch up to them at some point is the only reason that I feel it's a worthwhile conversation.
Well, yeah, it almost caught up to them in the game against the Rams.
That's what I
Yeah,
mean.
and the second half is the offense you want to see.
If Travis Kelce holds on to that football, we may be talking about something entirely different.
But he didn't, and they didn't.
No, exactly. So Sirianni's saying they're laughing with Big Don going, look at these schmucks over here sitting at a table.
It's a big vantage point of Detroit. Week 1 bad, but the last 2 weeks, Detroit looks like Detroit, and they're super talented. The Green Bay Packers, the Minnesota Vikings, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the NFC West, the whole division is going to be playoff caliber. So both things could be true. 3-0 and find ways to win. You also look at all these other teams that are really good and really well coached and really creative that you sit there and go, if you don't play your best, you're going to get beat by them.
The NFC is more loaded than it's been in quite some time.
It's better than the AFC,
Everybody
right?
thought the AFC was going to be the big bad beast, and you look at it, and the NFC's got 5 or 6 powers. So the Eagles have more competition, and Will's fancy team is struggling. Those are 2 things.
Let's actually illustrate that point. Let's do a quick more or less. It's brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. We've got a big game tonight between the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Both teams 2-1. Dan, more or less, Kyler Murray, total yards, so passing plus rushing. The number's 244.5. Which way do we go?
I'm going to say less. This Seattle defense is absolutely big time. It's one of the best fronts in football. I think it's one of the best covered units in football. Kyler's had some good moments this year. I'd like to see more consistency with their receivers. Marvin Harrison Jr. and him got to get on the same page better. He'll play well, but this is a big-time defense he's going against.
How about Darnold, 1.5 passing touchdowns tonight, more or less?
I'm going to say more. Again, I think Arizona, very good defense. But I think the multiplicity of this Seattle offense is a big deal. I love how much they use their tight ends. I love how much they get their play-action game going. Jackson Smith and Jigba, if you play man against them, he's going to eat you up. I'm going to say more for Darnold.
Speaking of killing your fantasy teams, can we get Marvin Harrison Jr. going, please? His number is 49.5 receiving yards tonight. Which way do we go, Dan?
I think I'm going less or
You're
under.
killing me, yeah.
Yeah.
It's killing me. You're not killing me. It's killing me, but go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think with Marv, he's still pressing, it seems. There's been drops where, like, there's no way that you, as talented as you are, should drop that football. I got to get him more. They got to get him more consistent.
Absolutely.
Again, good coverage unit, really good player, really talented player.
Screens to him early on. Some screens.
Got to catch the ball, man.
So if you like Danny's picks, they're a parlay. You see them on your screen right now. They're a parlay on the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app at plus 671. Look for the more or less featured parlay on the homepage and in the parlay lounge, which brings us to the point Shefty was just making. We entered this season saying the AFC is murderer's row. The NFC has clearly emerged as the better conference, and I think the NFC West might have emerged as the best division in football, top to bottom.
It may be the best division, and it's early in the season, and a lot can change. But I think we all could agree. The Eagles look like the favorite in the NFC East.
Right.
The Packers and Lions look dominant in the NFC North. Mm-hmm. The Buccaneers have been very good for a very long time and have won 4 straight divisions. right?
Yes.
We got 4 teams right there. The Rams have been stellar, almost won in Philadelphia, and have been a force for years. That's a 5th team. There are 7 playoff teams. We're talking about the Bears, the Vikings, the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Cardinals. Like, where's that 5th? The foul? Like, there is a lot of competition behind what I think are 5 really strong NFC teams.
So with Seattle and Arizona going tonight, I put the question to the group, which is the best team in the NFC West? And you're going to see a lot of LA Rams helmets up there, except for mine. Why are the Rams the best team in the NFC West?
I think they're the best team right now. They got a young, salty defense. Stafford, he's got Puka Nacua. You got Devontae Adams. You got Kyron Williams. Like, they are nice. However, Seattle is knocking on that door.
Yeah, Seattle's really nice, no doubt about it. The thing I love about the Rams with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams is how they change their run game plan from series to series. A lot of times you're going to see them hit gap scheme up the middle. You'll get those linebackers to come in, then all of a sudden they're hitting you with outside zone and perimeter plays. It's very hard if you're on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think the Rams do things offensively no one else in the league does. I also say that they went on the road to Philly and lost because of 2 blocked field goals, and Matthew Stafford, that's probably the worst game throwing-wise he'll have all season.
And I like what I've seen from Seattle. That defense is ferocious.
Stafford and Darnold are 2 of the best deep ball throwers right now in the NFL. And you talk about the multiplicity on the offensive side. The Seattle Seahawks are the only team in the NFL that have 4 different personnel groupings that they use at least 10% of the time.
All right, we'll see. Things go.
That's a nasty
that one. He's got
4 different groupings. Yeah. I'm going to steal that.
All right, Dak and the Cowboys are coming up next. They're facing Micah's return. Can they survive? We will find out after we see if the boys are ready for Hembo this week. Here we go, fellas. Your favorite part of the show.
Come on, fellas.
And this